in two addendums, and it manifested itself on the bottom of our building was this donor wall and the public space, the public feature. And so we designed the first floor as a public art gallery to showcase the donor wall and also have a public exhibit, allow people, not just students and faculty, but those from the community to come in, see the building, and then having the donor wall there to separate the administrative spaces from the public art gallery, kind of showcasing the names of the people who helped make it possible, but also incorporating the wall into the design thinking, not just sticking it in space as an object by itself. As you can see here, this is an internal view from one of the terraces looking out towards the southern facade. And the third point we had in our design was this vertical separation of program. There were various offices that were prescribed for us, and so we put the most private offices on the upper level and the most public ones on the lower level. So offices like finance and university finance, we wanted to put those away from the public. You know, they had more security concerns. And then we put the more public programs, the admissions offices, graduation admission, on the lower level because you would imagine more people will be using them, they'll be more public friendly. And so this is an early concept of our interior for the gallery space. It's a multi-story space with the southern glazing to the left in the image and the terraces moving up to the right. And so the terraces up there you can see would have the cubicles and the various open office spaces with the enclosed office spaces to the north side of the building. And also one other thing, you're fine. Early on, we started thinking about, Harrison will speak to this later too, but also with the concerns for daylight, there are also energy issues that had to be addressed, and so southern glazing can lead to heat gain, and so we also addressed, and I'll talk about it again, but we addressed it with the use of external sunshades, and Harrison will talk about that a little bit in a minute.
So in coordination with the architectural design, we also sized up our HVAC system as well as our plumbing system. So to accommodate for this energy gain, we're going to get the heat gains through this southern facade. We accommodated with a little bit of an oversized HVAC system, and also to make sure that the space was pretty climate and it met our control zone, 75 degrees and 35 degrees, or 35% relative humidity. We oversized it slightly, and we have 3 units, one supplying each floor. So that during maintenance hours or during some sort of downtime, the space will still be conditioned. We also designed our preliminary ductwork system with our diffusers, and we have supplies going to all of the closed spaces and each floor has its own supply and return. Then our plumbing system has also been sized according to our critical fixtures and our load capacity and our peak load capacity. And our HVAC systems are roof mounted to save space in the basement, and they're on their own flat spot on the roof. They have sawtooth, and the last section is flat spot just for the roof mounted systems.
So after we work construction, we believe in sustainable building. That being said, one of our mottos is plan today and to build for tomorrow. And for LEED, our building was required silver. And that being said, we were able to acquire 58 credits from planning and coordination and communication between the owner, design team, architect, and our LEED accredited professional. And one of our main points, I guess I'd like to talk about, was optimizing energy efficiency. As our architect gave us an innovative design for our the external daylight shades, and this allows us to reduce heating loads and heat transfer through the windows at peak summer months. It also allows us to gain heat through at the winter months due to the angle of these sunshades designed to latitude of the building's location.
Yeah, as Harrison mentioned, I just want to expand on that briefly, is we did some basic calculations based on what we know about high point, the latitude, to calculate the angles of the roofs and the depths of the sunshade to provide, like Harrison said, shading in the hot summer months when your heat gain will be an issue, so that way you have diffuse light in the space and not direct solar gain. And then in the winter months with the lower sun angle, the sun can penetrate those spaces and passively heat some of those spaces when the heating demand will be higher. And if selected for this project, that's one of those features we'd like to really work out, fine tune, really make those angles precise and those depths, to really maximize the times when you would need that heating load the most, when students would be in session in the winter time and you have the most demand for that, and also make sure you're not, just really fine tune those details to a point that we will be really happy with the results.
So as Cindy said earlier, our guaranteed maximum price is $7.15 million roughly. As you can see here, we have a blowout of sort of all the systems and all the sort of groups that we've put together for our submittal. So some of the systems that are more advanced and more designed, like I said, are our HVAC system, our structural system, and then parts of our plumbing system that have been designed and sized for this facility. We also have sort of an add option for demolition. Demolition was, in the general notes, mostly said as necessary, and we discovered that a lot of construction wouldn't disturb some of the existing concrete surfaces, so we have them as sort of an add option. If the owner decides they want to have a new sidewalk or more ballast or some sort of, aesthetically pleasing thing for the building. And also we have our interior finishes outlined here. Currently our system, our building utilizes just sort of natural construction surfaces. We've got polished concrete. We're going to use formwork that leaves an aesthetically pleasing sort of imprint almost. And then it's going to be polished and it's going to be a nicer finish. Our gypsum board is going to go on our office spaces, and then our partitions are cubicle partitions. And then some of the more breakout down here is, for our electrical system. This was sort of just a sort of like it's a retrofit, sort of a rough out for our estimate. And then for to comply with our smoke compartmentalization, we included our fire dampers and all of our ductwork to confine any sort of smoke or fire system to a certain room or office space. And then, like I said, this breakout is really to show you where your value is going to go. You can see exactly what you're paying for and where your money's going to go towards.
One of our key takeaways from the RFP, and in particular the contract for this project, was that this project is very schedule dependent in a sense. Time is of the essence was directly on the contract. So I went with that, and I figured, how can I get this project done quickly, pretty much. So we established at the very beginning, like, our goals for the schedule, and our first goal was obviously the university needs this administration building as quickly as possible. So that's going to be one of the priorities. Currently, their situation isn't ideal for their administration, so we've got to get that done as soon as possible, so they can flow into the next school year as soon as they possibly can. Another goal for our schedule was to reduce the time we spent on site, because it's a very congested area. It's a university campus. Construction sites provide many hazards to students, so we don't want to be there. We don't want to have that risk. We don't want to be there. We want to be there as limited as possible. Sorry. We also want to incorporate lean principles into our schedule. We want to eliminate the wasted time so that we're acting as efficiently and productively as possible and reduce our time again. Finally, we want to be able to provide a schedule to the owner that will both allow for like rain delays and like winter weather delays, because we're working in 2 summers. We want to create a schedule like that that's both compatible for the university and for us, so that we can work well together in the future. If you want to go to the next slide. There are lots of activities involved in this schedule, of course. I'm not going to go through all of them because that would take forever, and I don't like the sound of my voice that much. So I'm just going to run through a couple of milestones that will hopefully kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. The first step was obviously today, the proposal presentation, October 2014. We were then given a request for information, number 17, which said that there's a 30-day time between the presentation and the notice to proceed, so that puts us at December 1st, 2014. We then will go from there into the design development and pre-construction. And what was a couple of steps, we estimate a completed design development estimate March 3rd, 2015, rolling into a design development of the final design development, a meeting between us and the owner April 6th, 2015. We'll then go into a budget engineering and constructability review, April 14th, 2015. And we're looking at start of construction April 24th, 2015 as well. By that time, we want to have a complete estimate and a complete design so that we don't have to make too many changes after that. Obviously, you don't want to start the construction and then realize, hang on, we want to change this completely. Then during the construction phase, we're looking to complete our exterior work by November 30th, 2015. That's like our construction, our foundation, everything that we want to complete before it gets real cold, and we don't want our workers out there freezing pretty much, although it's North Carolina. Finally, we want to start installing the owner furnished equipment by December 22nd, 2015, just before Christmas. That will require some owner interaction, of course, because or depending on them to supply us with what we need for that. Our substantial completion date currently is February 15th, 2016, moving into inspections by the owner and by state authorities, of course. And then we're looking to turn over, as Cindy mentioned, February 29th, 2016, with some minor closeout after that. February 29th, 2016 obviously is a leap year, so we thought that'd be a kind of cool time to turn it over to construction. All right, thank you.
So upon completion of our estimate and schedule, we were able to compile our cash flows, and we took our profit and spaced it out linearly across the entire duration of our project. We did this to improve cash flows, which reduces our financing in order reducing costs. And there's many criteria that was pulled from the contracting document, and that actually affected our cash flows, which will be further explained in the presentation.
So as you'll see in the proposal we submitted, we put together a brief procurement plan. As Richard mentioned, we do want to be on campus for as limited time as possible. We don't want to interfere with campus activities and that type of thing. So it's really important that for materials and storage and delivery, that's all taken care of efficiently. So as you can see on the screen here, our specialized material log. Each sub will have to fill out this form every time they want something ordered. And this is our way of keeping track of the different materials coming and going and making sure that they're all going to be here on time, especially for those long lead items. We don't want those to be what's holding up our schedule. Also, because we will be working with a lot of the local suppliers from the North Carolina area, supplier trust and relations is really important to us. We want to make sure that we're creating that bond with them. We want them to be as invested in the project as we are, to help create the best product that we can.
So at February Construction, safety is one of our of utmost concern for us. We want to make sure everyone goes home at the end of the day. So a couple of the things that we want to touch on about safety with the trailer, again, as I mentioned before, it's got a first aid station there. It also is for heat-related injuries. People can go in there, get some AC during the hot summer months. During the winter months, they can go in there and get some heat if they need to. We also require hard hats, long pants, and steel-toed boots, the typical stuff on a safety site. We also have a fall protection plan. It's illustrated in our binder. It's minimal. We can expand on it more if we do get the notice to proceed. And it's your basic one. If you're above 4 feet, we want you to have some sort of fall protection. If you're working on the second story, we require scaffolding for you to harness in. We also know that with crane protection, that's a big thing on construction sites. So again, with the walkway, we want to minimize pedestrian hazards. So they have to walk through that. It would be erected as soon as we get to the construction site. It would be made out of wood. And all construction will be in compliance with OSHA, of course, but we realize that's the bare minimum and we strive to go above that. And then, so you guys asked us to look at the contract at the end of the binder you guys gave us. And after reviewing the contract, we did not see any changes we really wanted to make on it because we felt that it benefited us in some ways. And some of the ways we thought it benefited us was the retainage was set at 5%, which we felt was lower than what we were expecting. So we actually like that. We're paid 10 days after we submit the application for payment, which is lower than, which is sooner than we actually thought. We were used to 30 days is what our assumption was. The overhead allowance on the project was 10%, which again was more than what we're used to. And we found it interesting that when the owner obtains a limited license to use the work product, they assume all the risk. So we just felt that this contract benefited us in some ways, and we did not see any need to change it.
So that was our presentation regarding our proposal. Once again, we are February Construction. Thank you today for the opportunity to present to you guys. Just to hit on the key points again, our estimate did come in just under $7.2 million, and it was a 324-day working schedule beginning in December of 2014 and ending in February 2016. Thank you again, and we welcome any questions.
Well, I have a question. Really just need some clarification on the estimate and how it relates to design, if you can. So in this building, there appears to be a great deal of atrium space. For instance, I guess this is the front, and kind of the second level as well, with the balcony there. It was spoken that